Hi everyone, welcome to the channel. This is the first channel I've done on. No, this is the first video I've done on my channel. Yeah, the channel's about a little bit about my background and some of my struggles, like my mental health struggles, and I might talk a little bit about my life struggles as well. But mainly my mental health struggles, some generational curses that I've broken. For example, alcoholism running in the family and problems with that really affected me as I was younger, and I guess even say when I was younger, all through my teenage years, my youth, teenage years, and even I would say in my 20s to a point. Just I'll talk a little bit about that. But yeah, the main things I want to talk about is what the channel's about, which is my mental health struggles. Like I've because my dad battled with the bottle, the drug or alcoholism. I had a lot of anxiety and depression when I was younger. I won't get into too many details because I don't want my family to feel like I'm throwing anyone under the bus or anything. But yeah, I had a lot of anxiety and depression basically when I was younger, right up until my early 20s. It got so bad at one point that my lung went bad, and I actually coughed up at one point and blood came out my mouth, and I had I'm not doing this for people to feel sorry for me. I'm just saying how it was, do you know what I mean? I had a nervous sniff. Like I'd constantly sniff up, like sniff the air, and that was because I was so anxious all the time. And at one point I was at work, probably in my 20s, I'd say, and my nose started pouring of blood, pouring of blood. And basically I had to go and have the one side of my nose cauterized. I had to have the artery cauterized. That's just gives you a little bit of an idea of some of the stuff I went through, and and so that was it. At first it was depression, anxiety and depression, and then later than that, I grew up, I guess you'd say, in the city or the inner city, whatever you want to call it. Started smoking cannabis from a young age. Thought nothing of it. But yeah, as I got older in my 20s, I had an episode of psychosis, and ended up in hospital. And they said it was cannabis-induced psychosis. They reckon they found loads of cannabis in my system, although I hadn't smoked it in about 10 years, so it was a bit strange. But I started questioning the meaning of life at the time, and I started to think about life deeply because I had my problems, some of what I've mentioned, and other problems that I've been through and stuff. And I was out of work at the time and not in a good place and stuff, and I was drinking myself. But it weren't a problem, but I was hitting it a bit and just looking for relief from life, sort of thing, or whatever you want to call it. And yeah, I started questioning things. Then I got ill very quickly. It said I had psychosis. Said it was cannabis-induced psychosis. But anyway, cut the long story short, I yeah, I started experiencing things like I started having visions and of, I guess you could say, demons and possessions and uh, stuff like that. I started hallucinating, or I don't say that because I was hallucinating. Do you know what I mean? No one else could see what I was seeing, so you know what I mean. Don't know if I was hallucinating, but I was having visions, and yeah, I didn't understand anything about that at the time. I thought I was didn't know what to think about it, whether I was going mad, realizing something about the world, or just I didn't know what to think about it basically. But yeah, when I was in hospital, some woman came in the room, winked, and her face went blood red coloured, and I thought to myself, "That's the devil." It was like a revelation. I thought, "That's the devil," and I was like, I never believed in that. Like we had a Bible in the house and stuff because my dad was Catholic, but I never believed in none of that stuff. I thought it was all made up. But of course, that's what everyone thinks who's never read the Bible. When you read it, it when you read it, I'm not saying it resonates with everyone, but it certainly resonated with me. Certainly resonated with me. I felt like what I was reading was the truth, and there was an amazing amount of wisdom in it. It seemed like they got all the smartest people in the world, squashed it down, squashed all the knowledge down, like shrunk all the knowledge and all the wisdom of these really intelligent people who knew a bit about everything, and put it in a book and called it the Bible. Do you know what I mean? But like some of it, it just seems like there's no one intelligent enough to. Yeah, there's one person could not possibly know what's in the Bible. It's just not possible. Do you know what I mean? And one person's life or even multiple people's lives could not possibly have all the wisdom that's in the Bible. So that's why I know it's from God. Do you know what I mean? No one will convince me otherwise. And like I say, it resonated with me. Resonated with me. And obviously, I'd experienced things like what I thought was seeing the devil and possessions and other things which I won't go into. But yeah, that was how it started. I ended up in hospital a few times. Cut the long story short, yeah, for a while I thought I was mad. I thought I was didn't know what to think, but there was always people handing out tracks to me. God was always using people to speak to me about the Bible, but I just didn't want to hear it. And for a long time, I was set in my ways. I had an interest in mythology, and I also had another experience. Well, maybe I'll go into that at a later day. I don't think now's the time because this is an introductory video. But yeah, yes, my mental health, yeah, yep. I had diagnosed as cannabis-induced psychosis. Anyway, I gradually ended up getting better. come out of hospital, went through some other things, ended up back in hospital 2 more times. Basically the devil trying to confuse me and trick me, and that's what I realise it was now, but at the time I had no clue. I thought I was like, I don't know what I thought. That ties in with the whole mythology thing, and an experience I had. Yeah, but I'll talk about that another time. I don't want to talk about that now because that'd be good to talk about another time. I think. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. What else? What else shall I talk about? So yeah, I was later diagnosed with schizophrenia. And I know a lot of people are going to say you've got a demon in you, or you're crazy, or um, you're not healed, and all this stuff. But that's just lies of the enemy. Do you know what I mean? That's the truth. Just because the doctors or people in society don't understand schizophrenia or spiritual warfare, which is what I pretty much, I don't even see it as schizophrenia anymore, to be honest. I see it as spiritual warfare. That's what I believe I've gone through, and that's what I believe some people go through with schizophrenia. Yeah, and it's one of them, man. Not everyone's. People like to put things in boxes and stereotype and label things. Do you know what I mean? But it's like people like, well, you hear these stories in the paper or whatever, like saying schizophrenic goes round and does whatever, and he's like a mad axe murderer or something. But I remember where I worked the once. Someone told me one of the people who worked there had schizophrenia, and he was a manager. And I think someone told me that there was an astrophysicist with schizophrenia. So it just shows you not everyone with schizophrenia is dangerous or violent or anything like that. Do you know what I mean? Certainly anyone who knows me will tell you they've never seen me be violent or aggressive or anything. Do you know what I mean? At least friends, for sure. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, and people, yeah, I mean, not since I was a kid anyway. Do you know what I mean? While I've been an adult, no, I've not been like that. Yeah, so yeah, I'm as gentle and loving and uh, nice a person as you can come across. Do you know what I mean? I really am. I really am. That's the honest truth. Do you know what I mean? That is the honest truth. Um, but yeah, people will think how to think, so there's not a lot you can do about that. But yeah, that's my take on it. Not everyone is how people see people with that illness or whatever. It's just not. It's like saying, I don't know. It's like anything. Do you know what I mean? Stereotypes. We're all individuals at the end of the day. Do you know what I mean? And that's the truth. Do you know what I mean? So that's it, really. Also, what was I going to say? What else is there to say? What else? What else can I say? Yeah. Yeah. What I'm going to talk about on this channel is my mental health struggles, some of my life journey, some of the lessons I've learned throughout my life, to do with karma, or like, yeah, karma, pretty much karma. I won't call it karma, but the lessons God teaches you. You could call it karma though. It depends how you want to call it. Do you know what I mean? But I've learned, I've been quite a quick learner in life in a way, like in terms of the lessons I've needed to learn. I have suffered in the past due to errors and mistakes, but I've learned from every one of those mistakes, and I've tried not to make those mistakes again. But this journey, the devil is fierce, and he will come at you. At least he comes at me like you wouldn't believe. That's all I can say. Yeah, I've had a lot of crap. Even in the last 2 years, I've had a lot of. The warfare's been horrific, but it's not just the warfare; it's the people he uses to get at you and to affect your life and to do his work. Basically, do you know what I mean? I'm sure people who are walking the path or walking the way of righteousness and following God and or even believing in God and questioning things, even like people with mental health problems who haven't got faith, but they're questioning things, the devil will try and mess your head up. That is for sure. He will try and confuse the hell out of you, because that's what he does. That's what he done to me right from my when my mental health struggles started happening, and yeah, he's attacked me all my life in one way or another. Do you know what I mean? But the warfare now I'm believing, it is horrific. That's the only way I can describe it. It might seem like I'm smiling now, but believe me, I have been to hell and back. Hell and back. It's like a constant. He's constantly everything. It's just like he's constantly using people. Spirits are in people. Anyone who knows about the spiritual realm, like angels and demons or angels and fallen angels, people think it's just people, but it's not always just people. It's the spiritual's more real than the physical, and yeah. It's always affecting all of us. Some people realise it's affecting all of us. Many people are oblivious to it or don't realise. I noticed things even early in life, but I didn't know what it was. But now my eyes have been opened to a lot of stuff, and I very much realise now that there are angels and there are fallen angels. I'm very much aware of that. And there is a devil and there is a God. I'm very much aware of that. So I try and be as obedient to God as I can be, like read the word, pray, fast. Although I'm not very good at fasting, because I like working out and stuff, and yeah, I'm just not very disciplined with fasting. I try my best to be. I do sometimes, but I don't really always stick at it. But I know it can be very important. It can help you in breakthroughs in life, and it can open up the floodgates of heaven, so to speak, at times. It can cause, well, not necessarily the floodgates of heaven, but it can cause God to move. It can cause God to move in your life. So, yeah. Yeah, so, yeah, the spiritual is more real than the physical. And I think everything that happens in the physical happens in the spiritual first, whether people realise it or not. That's what I've learned. And yeah, like people like to label things like I was saying earlier, and People always fear what they don't understand. But it's like it says in the Bible, like it says in God's word. What is it? Perfect love casts out all fear, and the one that fears is not made perfect in love. Do you know what I mean? So take from that what you want to take from it. That's a good scripture. If I quoted that wrong, please feel free to correct me in the comments. And yeah, so it'll refresh my memory, and also you might help some people. So yeah, if I've said that wrong, feel free to correct me. I may have said it right. I'm not sure, because some scriptures I'm more familiar with, and some I haven't read for quite a long time. So yeah. But yeah, I try and read the Bible. Well, not I try. I do read the Bible quite regularly. I try to pray. I don't do that as much as I should, but I guess who does? Do you know what I mean? But I try. I really do try to. I try and do it as when I really feel pushed to, or when I feel the need to, or as much as I possibly can with my life and things getting in the way and the warfare and everything. But yeah, I try my best to, because I know it's important. I know your life goes better when you're doing all those things. That's what I've found, me personally. Sometimes it's hard still, because the devil's relentless, and yeah, the devil's relentless, etc. This is too long a video. I need. It's too long a video. I gotta fix this now. How can I fix this?